Yeah, hello guys. I started to get people. Hey, hello everybody. I hope you can hear me. Hello, yeah, I hope you can hear me. Okay, that's perfect. So I will mute you. I will mute you all, you guys, so that everybody's able to hear me. So yeah, welcome back. This is Ravi. So today we go with our second session of the workshop. Today we will be working with colors, watercolors, and we will see how we work with watercolors. We will see what are the basic color schemes, color techniques, how we look at colors. So, I just sent you a picture on the group before of this color palette, which is has four colors. So today we work with these four colors, and we will see how we work with that. So I will change the view to the paper. Hope everybody's having a nice time. Today is Mother's Day, so happy Mother's Day to everybody. Okay, and hope you have wished your mothers happy Mother's Day. Okay, so there we go. Mhm. Okay, you can tilt your screen, or you have an option in your option on your phone to rotate the screen. So you can select that option to rotate the screen, and then that would help you to rotate the screen as per what how you like. So this is going to be the view for us today, and we will simply start with using colors. Before we start, I will quickly like to give you a small review of what we did yesterday. So yesterday what we learned was how do we use pencil, and how do we draw. So first thing that we want to draw, or if anything that we want to draw, is whatever we would like to draw, we would have to use the entire height and the width or the length of this object first and get that into proportion, whatever that is, 1 2 1 2 3 4. So whatever that is, you have the proportion first in place, and then once you have the proportion, you divide this into half or two bigger parts, and then you start to find out the details into more details. Like you first go from outside to inside and to more inside, like this is 1 to 1 and 1 and 20, and then you divide it, you maybe let's say find out this to this to this, and then once you have this, between this to this you find out where Amul is written, and between this to this you find out where this line is. So the idea is to go from outside to inside. This is what we did yesterday, and today what we will do is, okay, the second part of the yesterday's workshop was you use the light and the dark. How to use the light and the dark on three objects, which is a circle, a square or a rectangle, and a cylinder. So once you have these three objects, once we study these three objects, we understand how light falls on these three objects and how light travels from light to dark. What we also need to remember over here is that always opposite to the light is the darkest area. Opposite to the light would be always the darkest area. So, this was very simple study that we made yesterday. One more thing is, if you want to make any details, first you have the light and the dark on the entire surface. You put that first, and then you start making the details. One very important aspect of making details is that all the details in the light appear lighter, and all the details in the dark appear darker. Now, there may be instances where you see in a natural light, and you do not get this effect, but you do not have to worry about it. because you're an artist and you will always put the light and dark as per your study. So you study light and dark, and then you will always use this as per your own wish. Even if it doesn't appear in the nature, you would still put the light and the dark as per your wish. Sometimes you can see it very clearly and sometimes not. Over here the light is falling from top, below is dark, so you can see it very clearly, and this area is the dark area. So when you can see it, it's very nice, but when you don't see it, you just put your own principle. Okay, so far so good. That's what we studied yesterday. Today we start with colors. So what we did yesterday on this with pencil, we used pencil for shading light to dark. We will use colors today. So instead of pencil, we use color, and we see how we work around with colors today. So we have watercolor. Watercolor is one of the best media of painting. It's really simple. It's also a lot fun to use. Very quick. It dries very quick, so that gives you the chance to make more and more watercolor. So yeah, that's one of the advantages of watercolor to use is okay. So yeah. Yes, you can use poster colors. You can use any color that you like. If you have poster color, you use poster color. If you have pencil color, you use pencil color. Even oil, acrylic, watercolor, any color that you have works over here. It's just this the principle remains the same. The idea remains the same for any type of color. All we do over here is I'm using watercolor. So if you have poster color, you work exactly the same way with poster color. Just the handling is a little bit different. Yep. So even if you have pencil color, then you just use the pencil color the way you like. Just the way we will use these four different colors. So let's start with our first topic. Before we start with colors, I would like to tell you guys that there are two types of colors. One is warm color and the other one is cold color. Okay, warm colors and cold colors. Okay, don't mind my handwriting, it's not that good. Most of the artists I heard don't have a good handwriting. They are good in painting but not in writing, something like this. But yeah, so warm colors and cold colors, there is a two family of color. So we can also look at it as a temperature. So warm color is warm temperature, like hot, and cold color is cool temperature, like cold. So where there is more light, where there is more light falling, it will obviously become more hot, so it is warm. And where there is shadow, it becomes cold, so that is cold color. Now if you're using poster color, or if you're using watercolor, or if you're using any other type of color, I want you to look at the four main category of colors. So one is yellow, one is red, one is green, and one is blue. So, well, primary colors, if you see, primary colors are only three: yellow, red, and blue. Green is a mixture of blue and yellow becomes green. So for now, let's say if you're looking at primary and secondary colors, which is the technical way of looking at it, so you hide this color, you only look at yellow, red, and blue. But right now we are studying warm colors and cold colors. So what I do is, while you're using watercolor, with poster color, you can directly use the color on the surface of the paper. But with watercolor, what happens is you use a lot of water. So you use a lot of water, you put it in your palette. This is where you mix your colors. So you take water first, you put it into your palette. Okay, there is enough water in the palette, and then you mix some color. Okay, very little color to the palette over here. Okay, now this becomes your yellow color. I just put the yellow color in the place of warm colors over here, just a patch, just to let you know how colors work. So this is yellow color, and it comes into the warm category. It's the warmest color. So that is your yellow color. Okay. So the second warm color is red color. So you just take a little bit of water and you take some red. So this is the family of warm color, yellow and red. So any shades of red and yellow would become warm color. Any shades. So red could be like, let's say, brown or orange or light red, dark red, or any shades of red or any shades of yellow or any shades of yellow also could become a family of warm color. So when we look at well, there are so many colors and there are so many shades, and there's a lot of things with colors, a lot of study, but this is the most basic, most simple, and this is how it all starts. And all the colors are made out of these colors, just the three colors: red, yellow, and blue. So that becomes your warm color. I keep my warm color separate to the cold colors. Now I go to the cold color. I take a little bit of green over here on the side, add a little bit of water to it. Always when you work with watercolor, there should be a lot of water. You see, my brush has a lot of water. Okay, so that's green over here. I wash my brush and then I take a little bit, I just take this color out of my palette, and then I add a little bit of blue. So that's a blue color. Blue is also a cold color. So when I learned painting, my guru did not teach me what is primary color, what is secondary color, and what is tertiary color. I still do not have that idea. Like, I learned it later, but that is not really something which is very important in the field of colors. What is important is what is warm and what is cold, because that will be defining your light and dark. And the rest is also a lot about your feeling. How do you feel with colors? What colors do you like and what do you not like? So we can look at that. Now it's in a very simple way. We have warm colors, we have cold colors. All the shades of yellow and red falls in the warm category. All the shades of cold and green and blue falls in the cold category. Now, if I want to use watercolor, and let's say I have an object over here, which I want to color. So it has light falling over here, and it becomes dark. So light to dark. Now I will simply show one technique of using watercolor. Using watercolor to we will see how we use and mix watercolor. So for poster color and for any other colors, you start with the first color. Let's say you start with yellow. Okay, I want to mix yellow and red. So I will simply start with yellow. This is my I would just go down over here on this side. So this is yellow. Then I mix a little bit of red with my yellow. Okay, I'm just not using red now. I'm using red with yellow a little bit. So this goes down over here. So red, and then it becomes kind of a little bit orange. And then I will use more of, this is a cloth over here. This is called as a rag. You use the rag for drying your brush. So yep, I go from so always watercolor would also be that there is just a little bit of a sound in the background. I will just wait for the sound to be over. So there is some kind of a construction going out somewhere around, but it wouldn't be a lot bothering us. So whenever you use watercolor, you give a little bit of a flow. It should flow down or left or right, any way you prefer, but you should give it a flow so that it flows down. So I'm using now a little bit more red with a little bit yellow. Okay, not too much yellow. Now I go from red to yellow. sorry, red to orange, and then I go simply with red. Also with water, you should always add water to your painting with watercolor. If this is poster color, then you would simply go with just yellow with the color, and then mix red with yellow, and then go down to only red. So this is the transition now from yellow to yellow plus red to only red. So this is how we use warm colors in this transition. Let's say I want to use cold color now. So cold color would be in the same manner. This is very important to know in the start, because with this most of your coloring would depend on this kind of a study that you make. So when I use cold color, this in this study that we are doing right now, we are also studying how to mix two colors, watercolor or even acrylic color or any kind of color that you use. So I use this as green, and then I mix the green with blue, a little bit of green. So if you see, there is always water into my palette, and you as if you're beginning to paint with watercolor, you should remember that watercolor, as the word itself suggests, should be used with a lot of water. And now I use most of the blue with very little green. Okay, it's mostly blue, and then you see how my color is flowing down. You see, this is how I will come into the blue category, and then at the end it's only blue with very little water, but still there is water. Okay, this part is only blue. So it simply states how there is a warm palette and there is a cold palette, and in between there are these two colors that have mixed with each other. So light to dark, light to dark. Now let's say the third category that we would create over here would be mixing a warm color and a cold color. So we will take yellow and blue, and let's see how we can mix that. So when I mix yellow with blue, I mix yellow over here with water, and then I will put it over here. This is yellow. Okay, then when I mix yellow with blue, this is yellow, I mix a little bit with blue. I'm using warm and cold color together, which becomes green. So that's my part in between, green. Okay, and then towards the end I have blue, only blue, because that's the darkest color, and I'm mixing blue at the end. So this becomes my last bit of it. So this is the way we use watercolor, and what we do is we let the water mix or let it do its work. If you're using poster color or oil color or acrylic color, you would need to mix it on your palette and then apply it on the paper. Even with watercolor, I mix it on the palette and then apply it, but water also does its work over here by flowing down and by creating an own flow, its own flow, which is light to dark. So if you see how yellow has gone into you wouldn't be able to figure out where is the color mixing, and there is no patch, because it simply goes from yellow to orange to red, yellow to green to blue, and green to blue, dark green, and then to blue. So these are the three shades of cold color and warm color. Now this is simply how we understand light and dark onto our nature. So let's say if the onion is white in color. Okay. Now, if I want you to replicate this onion with just using these colors, if you want to show this onion with using only these colors, how would you work with it? So in the top part of it, which is light over here, you would use yellow, because you will leave a small paper white over here which is absolutely white, and then you will start using yellow, and then you will go down to, let's say you want to use this kind of a shading because it's from light to dark, you use yellow and blue. Yellow being the warm color which is in the warm side where the light is falling, yellow being on the top where the light is falling, so this is yellow. And then you mix yellow and blue, make it green. In between there would be green, and at the bottom it would be blue. So that is, even though the color of yellow onion is just white, if you want to use this kind of a color palette, this is how you would use it: yellow, green and blue, to indicate light, dark and the darkest area. So let's say you want to use, let's say you don't want to use the entire shade. You only want to use yellow to show the light and to show the dark. So because you can argue that an onion is white in color, and I don't want to use blue to show a yellow onion or a white onion. So what you simply do is you take yellow as your color, okay, because this is your so this is called monochrome. Mono means single, and chrome means color. So if you're using, let's say, only one color, and if you want to paint with only one color, so this will be your highlight. Okay, you will always leave the highlight. This small white in the between is the highlight, and then I simply go from yellow to darker yellow. Okay, and this side of the paper, so I remove some color from here. Okay, so it would be only the darkest would be over here. So in yellow you cannot make it any more darker than yellow because yellow is itself a light color, but what you do is you make this the darkest area, the darkest yellow possible with just very little color. So now if you see, this is how an onion painting would look like if you're only using one color. So it's a light color. The paper white is always, you have to leave the paper white, which states that this is where the maximum light is falling. So you go from light to dark, 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 and this is the darkest area, which is the darkest of the same color. If you say you want to use blue, let's say you want to use blue, only blue. So again, the monochrome of blue would be, let's say you use a very light color first in the start. Okay, so this is the paper white that I left in the center, and then I can, this is my, so maybe you can think of an object which is blue in color. Let's say a brinjal. If you want to paint a brinjal, so you could argue, or you could say that, yeah, but I don't want to put yellow in the brinjal where it shows light, so I will only use blue color. So if you want to paint brinjal, and if you want to show light and dark, that is warm and cold, you can also create the same effect using the same color. You don't necessarily have to always use uh, like bright colors like yellow and red to indicate light. You can use a lighter version of the same color. So this is how it would appear if it's the same color. This is called monochrome, and it could be, if you remember, yesterday we worked with pencil. So this is like working with pencil, just one color. And sometimes you can also use two colors, sometimes you can use more color. Like let's say if you're using 12 colors, then with this what we did today, with this exercise, you can use all 12 colors. You can divide your 12 colors into warm colors and cold colors, and then start using warm colors in the part where light falls, and cold colors in the part where there is no light. Let's say you want to use only 2 3 colors, let's say only 2 or 3 colors between warm and cold. Again, where the light is falling, you use warm colors. Where there is shadow, you use cold colors. And if you want to use only one color to show the entire structure of light and dark, then you use either a warm color or either a cold color. When you mix more water to it, it becomes lighter. When you mix less water, it becomes darker. If you're using a poster color or if you're using pencil, then you can add white to it to create the white effect. You can add white in the area where the light is falling and black in the area where there is light, where there is the shadow. Now, in a very advanced type of painting, we do not use white and we do not use black, because both are not considered as colors. They're just light and dark, but they're not colors. So what we do is, instead of using the color white, we just leave the paper, because paper is white. We leave the white as where the white will be, like the highlight will be. And the darkest area, if you want to make black, so we don't use the color black, but we use like, let's say, blue and red. If you mix them together, it becomes purple. So you can use that as a darker color, or you can use red and green, that would make it brown. So you can use that in the darkest area. More advanced would be burnt sienna mixed with Persian blue. So burnt sienna is brown and Persian blue is a dark shade of blue. When you mix both of these, it becomes a very dark shade, which is almost like a black color. So in advanced painting, or in painting with when you paint portraits and stuff, you don't really use black. You use like shades of darker colors to indicate the darkness of the area. So I would like to show you this with some paintings that I've made before, and you will quickly understand how I use the colors. So if you see this area, if you see this painting I painted some days ago, I think some weeks ago. So I'm simply using the light and the dark colors over here, simply using warm and cold colors. You see, it's as simple as this. Yeah, I've been painting for some years now, and I'm still trying to make it as simple as I can when I'm painting even a complex painting like this. It's flowers. I use yellow flowers, and to make a contrast to yellow, maybe there is red, maybe there is more yellow in the background, maybe there is pink and red or something in the background. But what I do is, I want to highlight this yellow flowers, so I use the opposite of yellow, which is blue, to create the contrast, so that the yellow is really coming out and really attractive. So I use so you may see that these are yellow flowers, and I don't want to use the blue in the yellow flowers. So what I do is, I use the paper white, and then I use the light yellow and dark yellow mixed with a little bit of brown over here to create the effect of light and dark in these flowers. And the same goes with all the flowers over here. I haven't used any blue over here. And with the background, I haven't used, maybe I have used a very little yellow over here. But what I do for the background is, I mostly use blue with more water, less water, to make it more darker. So looking at this palette as cold colors and warm colors, I've used it in a very simple way to show cold and warm features in the painting. Yeah, so in this simple form, you can use colors to show light and to show darkness, and you can also use the same color to show light and to show dark. As in the flowers I did, the yellow flowers, I showed the light and the dark using just yellow, and I show light and the dark using only blue in the flowers. There's this one more small painting I have, which I would like to show you. This is made with blue pen, so only blue color, and I have paper white as the place where the light falls maximum, and everything else I've shaded it a little bit more darker. This is made with pen. So with pen also you can have the same effect. With watercolor also you can have the same effect. And I would like to show you some more paintings, and you will see exactly the same concept that I follow of light and dark. So this house over here, if you see, this painting of the house, this area receives light. The light is coming from front. So this area receives light and this is dark. So to make it very simple for viewers to understand, I have used yellow over here as light color and blue mixed with green over here as dark color. Same over here, light red or light brown over here as light color and over here as dark as green. And now the roof, which is red roof, I have used light red over here and dark brown over here to show that it's the shadow part of the roof. And same goes with the rickshaw, light blue and then dark blue on the side over here, which shows it's the shadow of it. So if you see most of my paintings, you can check my paintings on Instagram, which is rave_arts. I use very simple colors to make it very as simple as I can. For example, this tree. This tree, if I compare this tree to this palette that we just made, okay, warm colors, cold colors. This tree over here has warm colors and then cold colors in the shadow. The light is coming from here, so I leave paper white in some areas over here. And in the first flow, the first thing that I do is, this is something that we will learn in the second chapter today. So in a very simple way, what I do is I use this area as light. I start with yellow, light colors, then I mix a little bit of green over here, and then start mixing green, I go to blue. Now you look at this palette over here and you look at the middle palette over here, yellow, green and blue. This is exactly what I'm doing over here. Yellow, green area over here and blue over here with shadows inside it. We will see how we use the light and the shadows. Okay, so this is one another example of using light colors and dark colors. Let me give you one more example of this, of just the flowers over here. Very simply I made flowers. These are white flowers. It's called periwinkle. They grow just outside my house, and I made quite some paintings of this. This is made with using black color. So this is in a very simple way. I use light, or I use paper white to indicate the light is falling over here in the maximum area, and then rest everything is dark, which I use less water, more color, and I use the darkest area of the painting over there. Simply over here with the tree, light to dark, I'm using only black color over here. With more water it becomes light black, then it becomes black, like a darker shade of black, and here it's the darkest shade of black. So in a very simple way, we have this three colors that we can use to our advantage. And if you see even the best of the artists in the world, or if you see some other paintings, they would also have something very simple as this. They also follow something as simple as warm colors and cold colors. So even if you do not know what is primary color, what is secondary color, and what happens when you mix this and what happens when you mix that, that is all the information you will receive when you start to use warm colors and cold colors. One very small information that I would like to give you about technical information about color is that when you mix yellow plus red, it becomes orange, which is a secondary color. When you mix red and blue, it becomes purple, which is also a secondary color. When you mix yellow and blue, it becomes green, which is a secondary color. So from 1, 2 and 3, which is 3 primary colors, you can have 3 secondary colors. And then mixing secondary color with the primary color, you can have tertiary colors, which is the third category of color. So if you mix red plus green, it will become brown, and that is a tertiary color, brown. It's the third category of color. So in this sense, you can study colors. It's all about you playing with them, mixing different colors, and just play around with them, see what works for you and what doesn't work for you. Sometimes, and this concept is the same with whether you use whether you use oil color or watercolor or any other colors. Yeah. Now, let's say I would simply want to give you one small example of a square. Yeah. Now, let's say there is a square. There is a circle, a square, and a cylinder. All right. Now, in the second class today, we will learn how to paint objects with watercolor. Now, if I want to use, let's say just a little bit of yellow mixed with green over here. So this is yellow. So what I do is you would always use a lot of water in the area where there is light. Okay, this is the area that indicates light. All right, and then I go into the darkness. So this is, I've moved halfway through, and then I start using yellow with blue. It's just a simple light to dark structure that I want to show you. So now what is very important is you see the way my brush moves. Because it's a square, it will move in this, because it's a circle, it will move in this direction. And if it's a square, then it will move straight. This is blue over here, the darkest portion over here. Okay, so let's say simply we can represent these three colors to be light, dark, and the darkest color. All right, now let's say how would it work in a square. So this becomes our, I just take out the excess water. Okay, this becomes our one part. Now let's say I want to use the same technique over here. So if the light is coming from here, for this part, now it's going from light to dark. For a square, it is a flat surface, correct? Now it does not have any bends or any curves. So the entire portion will be light. This entire portion would be a little bit darker, and the bottom where the light reaches the last will be one simple color. Now with watercolor you have little time, so it kind of mixes with the other color, but that's not a problem. It's just to indicate where the light is coming from. It's light and less light over here, and then dark on this side. Okay, this is yellow over here. All right, now if I want to highlight the light, let's say this light is not so much visible to me right now, so I can put a background. This is the background for me. So now you see the white of the square is really visible. This part is really visible as the minute I put the background. So that's not so much of a concern for us right now. The background is not a concern for us right now. It's just to show you how we can give importance to light by putting dark in the background. That's just in something that we can study in an advanced study. And apart from this, let's say, so our next class, which will start in the next 10 to 15 minutes, I will tell you on the group, in the next 10 minutes it will start. In that class, we will do more of an object. We will study the advance of watercolor, and we will study how we can create an object. So this is simply our study with the colors, how to work with light and dark colors. Okay guys, so it's in a very simple way. I want you to follow this technique and just go ahead and so you will know what we are doing with light and dark colors. Okay, so thank you so much, guys, and hope you like this session. One thing I would like to tell you about painting is that the more slower we go, the much better we would learn. So yeah, it is nice that we are going at this speed. We will learn about how we put the advanced technique of watercolor and how we work with watercolor now in the next session. But for now, it's just simply light and dark that I want you to know. Okay, so this is the light, and then light to dark is this area. Okay, thank you so much, guys, and I hope you enjoyed the session. Thank you so much. I will see you on the group, and I will send you pictures of this once we have done with the class. So this was our study, and thank you so much. I see you on the other side. Thank you. Have a nice time. Bye bye. तो राजीव ये चलता है 40 मिनट्स के ऊपर.
चलते हैं मालूम है इसलिए मैं तेरे को बोला ना एज अ होस्ट यू हैव टू बी रेडी एटलीस्ट 5 मिनट्स प्रायर क्योंकि यू कैन नो आस्क पीपल टू वेट फॉर यू मैं तो ज्वाइन
तो
करेगा
चलता
पहले
कैसा है?
ज्वाइन करेगा
नहीं, लेकिन चलता कैसा है वो तो गूगल वीगल पे भी लिखा है भाई, 40 मिनट्स के बाद एंड हो जाएगा सेशन.
देख इसके बाद ही चालू हुआ
अच्छा हो गया यार. अभी तो नहीं, बाद में पीते ना.
अच्छा था सेशन तो विदाउट एकदम कुछ भी ये नहीं इंटरप्शंस नहीं कुछ नहीं स्मूथ एकदम लेकिन अभी तो स्टार्टिंग का 5 मिनट बहुत फास्ट गया कल रिक्का का जो रिकैप दे रहा था बहुत
हाँ
फास्ट
हाँ, वो मैं फास्ट ही जा रहा था थोड़ा
नहीं
बिकॉज.
बहुत ही ज़्यादा फास्ट जा रहा था मेरे को
हाँ.
समझ में नहीं आ रहा था जबकि एज एन इंडियन आई एम यूज्ड टू इट बट
हाँ हाँ हाँ
मेरे को भी बहुत फास्ट लग रहा था
हाँ. क्या
कैसे लग रहा था एकदम भगा रहा है